Hi, I'm Lisa, and this is Three of Skeins Knit and Crochet Podcast number 105. How are you today, Chris?
I'm okay.
Cool. Like and subscribe. She didn't have to remind me this time. Like and subscribe.
Okay.
Hey, you didn't tell them.
Yeah. What do you got?
Okay. I have a little bit of housekeeping. Actually, we both have a little bit of housekeeping because we are going to be taking off for 2 weeks. I will not be recording podcasts, but we do have some videos for you coming up. So be on the lookout. I think we will be back when?
It's January 8th. So
January 8th.
We'll be out Christmas and New Year's because it's Christmas and New Year's.
Hello. So everybody, have a happy holiday. Also, I will be teaching in January at Vogue in New York. That is going to be, and let me see, I pulled up the page with the dates because if I tried to tell you off the top of my head, it would almost invariably be wrong. Here we go. So Vogue Knitting New York is going to be January 25th to January 28th, and I will be teaching Sweater Savvy and how to work a pattern. Also, I wrote some blog posts about the nitty-gritty details of how I lined my jacket, my dofuku. The third part of that series is up. Actually, parts 1 through 3 are up on knitsheet.com. The third entry came out on Friday, and it is called How to Line a Jacket. Do you have any news, Chris?
Just the usual. Subscribe to the newsletter using the link below, and you will get a recap of all of our episodes with all appropriate links.
Great. That's it for housekeeping.
What do you have?
Okay. I've gotten back to work on my sock. I got excited about my jacket and I put my sock away completely. And now I am, I believe, on row 11 of the color work section. Here, I'll hold that up a little closer. Look at that. You can actually start seeing the flowers forming. I absolutely love that. And I'm doing a float-free, well, not completely float-free. The floats are extremely short. I'm doing a method where you don't carry long stretches of floats on the back of the work. Instead, you catch the floats every other stitch. So you just have very short floats. And it is changing my gauge. You can see my sock is going out a little bit, but I think that's okay because color work generally makes things tighter. And this is actually giving me a little bit of room in the sock. And it will be pulled back in when I switch back to just plain stockinette. So at this point, I will be finishing off the color work section. And then I'm gonna skip the cuff and start on the second sock and do the color work section on that sock first. And then work my way down to the foot.
So why don't you just remind people what your sock construction is?
Okay, so I'm doing one long sock starting from the toe up. So I started from the toe of this sock. I went ahead and knitted a heel and everything. And now I'm working my way towards the cuff of this sock. So when the top part of the sock is finished, I will start from the cuff area of the second sock and work my way down to the toe. Then I'll cut the two socks apart, knit two cuffs, and they'll both be done. And I'm making this sock in, this is from the yarn shop at Alma Park. It's called Wild Horses, and it's part of the Persimmon Hill Yarn Club. That's the main color. And my contrast color is Red Red Wine. It's on the JoJo sock base from,
I can't remember her name either.
It'll come to me. It'll pop right back in my head. I'll blurt it out with no context, and we'll I'll put something in to remind everybody what I'm talking about. But that's what's been going on with the sock. I had some problems keeping up with exactly where I was in the chart. So what I did was I drew some lines on the chart every 5 stitches. It's a 19 stitch chart. So I had 3 sections with 5 stitches and 1 section with 4.
Hope made yarn.
Thank you. Hope made yarn.
I knew it was her name.
I know, me too, but
Made yarn.
That's as far as I could get. So JoJo sock base, Hope made yarn, red wine. There we go. So what I did was I put ring markers in to match what it was looking like on my chart. So wherever there's a line on the chart, there is a ring marker. So now it's easier for me to see exactly where I am in the row, because don't let me get a little distracted. I don't know what section I'm doing in the row. But so far, I'm very, very happy with this. I think it's coming out looking really cool. And that's pretty much what I've been working on, because I'm a slow color work knitter.
I'm still working on my cardigan. And this is what I have so far. So I'm on my 4th stripe. There's going to be 6 stripes total. And after I finish this stripe, I will extend it on either side to do my sleeves. Yeah, this is what I have. See, I like those little boxes. I really think that was just like a fun. After I started it, I thought of like an easier way to do like a border that didn't require mosaic. I don't know. I like the boxes, but now I'm like, oh, this could have been easier. But I don't know. I think
there's something, it gives it rhythm. There's something visually very pleasing about the boxes.
But I don't know. I like it.
Now, what is this, the cardinals on a hot summer day?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect it to stripe in that way. Wow.
Yeah, this is what it looks like in the skeins. So as you can see, it's got those marled sections. You can kind of see. Yeah, there you go.
Ah.
So yeah, that's what those black areas are. It's funny because I thought these two actually look kind of similar to me, but one of them, I feel like the cardinals on a hot summer day has way less contrast with the solid orange than the Can You See Me Now?
Yeah.
And that surprised me. So I'm worried that my boxes get a little bit lost in this section, but I don't think it's that big a deal.
But you know what? I think the fact that they repeat, it draws your eye back to it. And I like that you have that consistent thing going through the entire fabric.
Yeah. But so as you see, I have this solid line going across in this orange, in the solid orange. Here, cardinals on a hot summer day, you can barely see it.
I couldn't see it at all.
I could have kind of skipped that, and I don't think anyone would have noticed. And I'm just like really, really surprised, because you see with Can You See Me Now, that orange line stands out a lot more.
Yeah.
But so I think I like using that contrast color because it kind of makes the features of each of the different yarns stands out a little bit more. So I like the overall design. I like how it's coming out. But this is my fall project that's just in time for winter.
Hey, fall comes back every year.
It does.
Okay?
It does.
It comes back like clockwork.
So, but yeah, that's all that's going on. It's just all I like. Every time I come back to something that's just all single crochet, I remember how much I like the single crochet stitch.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't make an effort, I'll do everything single crochet. Just all of it. It's just
all single crochet all the time.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, the way knitters use stockinette. I think it's a great basic stitch. And I love the fabric it gives.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Somehow it is textured and smooth at the same time.
You know what it is? So it's stockinette. All the lines are vertical.
Yeah.
But crochet stitches will always have a horizontal element. And that's what gives the appearance of texture. So when you do like waistcoat stitch, you cover up that horizontal part of the stitch, and then you get something that looks like knitting. But I feel like that's just too much work, and that needs to be done in the round, so you're always working on one side. I don't bother with waistcoat stitch.
And do you get a thick fabric when you do that?
I feel like you must, and no one talks about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I feel like we just don't mention that.
Oh my God.
But I'm assuming that is what happens. At least something similar to when you're doing tapestry crochet and you're working over that yarn. That's my little project. She's just moving along.
Now, when you do the sleeves, is it going to be like a drop shoulder type of sleeve? Okay.
That's my preferred sleeve. I'm one of those people who would really like crank out the same thing over and over again.
You're discovering that, huh?
Yeah, like just the same basic design, like drop shoulders and single crochet, but you know, maybe do some color work here and there, or V-neck occasionally, or what have you. But there are just certain things that I like, and I'm happy to use those features again and again and again and again.
Yeah, one more time.
Again. What are we doing? What are we looking at?
I'm looking for something.
Something that you didn't look for before we started filming?
Yeah, because I didn't realize we were going to talk about it. Crystal asked me before, just before we started, are you designing something? And I'm like, no, yes, maybe.
Look, last week, if you saw last week's episode, we talked about I keep it in an inspo folder on my phone. It's just pictures I take of things that I like, that I think I can make versions of, or that have ideas that I think I want to incorporate into my crochet. And Lisa very suddenly said, oh, I have some too. And I was like, oh, she has an inspo folder now, which is not my fault.
It's totally your fault.
Not my fault at all. But if you have an inspo folder, that must mean, I concluded, that you are designing something.
Well, you see, what happened was this. You know, I don't consider myself a designer of things. I don't.
Okay.
I'm much more likely to modify something that already exists. And I might modify the living heck out of it. That is true. But the bones will kind of be there. So I got very inspired by a lot of Chanel suits I was seeing, and I kind of always liked them. So I kind of decided to make one of my own. And I'm actually looking down because I'm trying to look for the, oh, you know what? I'm in the wrong program, that's why. Is Freeform on the phone?
Is it on your iPad? When you showed the suit last time, it was on your iPad.
Yeah, it sure was. Okay, never mind, it's not here. I will put the picture in. I did a sketch of what I think I would like it to look like. And I already have some yarn upstairs, and I was like, you know what? I think you have yarn for this. So I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna design a 3-piece suit. It's gonna have a vest, a cardigan, and a skirt. And I already know I want the skirt to be kind of a tube skirt. The vest, I'm gonna do a mosaic all over pattern on it, and I think I'm gonna do 3 related but not the same patterns. Because I remember I showed you that suit last time. I'll pop the picture of the suit that I'm kind of inspired by. And I really love the way they were able to use the exact same colors but juxtapose slightly different patterns with each other. And I was like, oh, I think I can do that. I think I can. What are you looking like that about?
And now this is just new for you.
I know. I feel away.
Why?
Because I like having a basic form that I can work from.
But you do. If you have a basic jacket form, you know what a jacket looks like.
That is true. That is true.
So, what you're getting from the pattern is mostly someone else's numbers, and you don't.
I don't need those. I mean, honestly, sometimes it is slightly more trouble to translate someone else's numbers to your own rather than just work from whatever. I think once I started just working, that's what got me working from my own gauge to begin with. I do end up changing the numbers on just about every pattern I work with, but I don't spend time furiously trying to match gauge when I normally cannot match gauge. That's just the bottom line. I can't match gauge. So that led me to just work from my own gauge, whatever my gauge happens to be. And that freed me up to find my own yarn and use whatever needle size I wanted to. And that led me down to this road where I am taking the leap and just,
And you ambitious. You gonna design a whole 3-piece set. Not just like a sweater or something.
Well, you know what? I figured the skirt would be easy. I mean, it's a tube.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already done an elastic waistband, so I know how to do that. So the skirt is actually the piece I'm worried about the least. And the vest, it's a sweater with no sleeves. That's essentially a tube. Mm-hmm. So I know I can do it.
As you've been working from these patterns, you've been acquiring the skills.
Yes.
That you need to design something.
And I just needed to let go of the binky of always having a pattern. It did get to be a binky. Really? You're gonna tempt
I just
others?
feel like this is really exciting. This is like a moment.
Yeah, I'm letting go of the binky. It's not, and I'm not trying to make any complicated pieces, and I think that's why I'm relying on surface decoration to give the interest. I have the ambition to make a plaid. I don't know if that's gonna work out, but we'll see. But yeah, I think those of you who are like me, who are just very, pattern based, I like a good pattern. I feel a little insecure, stepping away from pattern land. I'm scared I'm gonna end up like you and just never use a pattern again. Look at her, it's like ha 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 ha.
Don't be scared.
You have influenced, Crystal. You have influenced me, and I don't know if I like it.
Don't be scared.
I'm nervous.
But you know what? I find that one of the things I like about designing my own things is not having to keep checking in with the pattern.
Yeah. And
feel like, wait, is this right? Or do I need to change this? Or, how many, am I supposed to have this many stitches in my row? It's very liberating. You're going to like it.
You think?
I do.
I feel like, though, I'm going to be kind of more like, remember Vern from Trading Spaces? And how the Carpenters loved him?
Because you can have your own, yes.
Because he always came with a very detailed plan. The measurements were always accurate. Everything was like really laid out. So I'm essentially going to make a pattern for myself. And you tend to be a little bit more loosey-goosey about it.
I am quite loosey-goosey about it, surprisingly. I do my math up front. So my usual steps are, I have this idea, and the first thing I need to know is the shapes. What shapes am I making? Mm-hmm. And I will do a sketch first, and then I will figure out what I want my measurements to be, usually by taking things from my closet and that, fit the way I want the garment I'm making to fit. And then from there, we'll do my schematic. Then I will make a swatch and figure out, the numbers that I need to actually start the garment.
Yeah.
And then I'm off to the races. Are you planning to write yourself like a row by row pattern?
No. But I will have a
I'm going to tell you
schematic.
my philosophy. I have come to the conclusion that all you need to make a garment is a schematic and a stitch diagram.
So you are starting to turn into those Eastern European knitters that will see their stuff on Pinterest.
Except I'm off for schematic because what they'll post online just a picture of the finished garment. And then there's stitch diagram.
Yeah.
I'd at least give you a schematic with some measurements or something. But honestly, because I'm often saying, sometimes I feel like all I need is a book of schematics, something that would show me shapes in some relative proportions.
Mm-hmm.
And I could make, any number of things. And I feel like we over rely on patterns to tell us every single detail, but especially I would say that even if you just keep shaping minimal, but you don't even need to do that. Shaping is not as complicated as I used to think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because really you only need the measurements for where you're going to start your shaping and the measurements for where you're going to end your shaping. And after that, you're still working basically in straight rows. You're just doing a few increases or decreases. So I've gotten a lot less afraid of shaping than I used to be.
Yeah.
I still mostly keep
you
things
had your
straight lines.
You had your
Yes.
rectangle period. Yeah.
I still try to keep things as close to straight lines as possible. But now I know that if I need to do some shaping, I can. It's not that big a deal. But patterns don't need to be what they are right now. They could really be much, much simpler.
That's kind of why I like the Japanese patterns. Those were the first patterns that I used that made me feel like there was room for me to step away from the pattern, because they are in effect very detailed diagrams and a stitch pattern. And with it done that way, I could see exactly where I always felt like I couldn't see exactly where I was in the pattern, especially if I was just reading the pattern.
You go row by row.
Yeah. And some knitting patterns, you're not even going really, you are going row by row, but sometimes you're doing stitch by stitch. You know what I mean? They'll be like, okay, do 45 stitches here, then do 3 decreases, and then do 45 more stitches. So my mind would be focused on the individual stitch or the individual row, not the project as a whole. And I find when I'm either heavily modifying something or thinking about making something just whole cloth, I know what all the parts are. I don't even know if I'm explaining this well.
Deconstruct your patterns
Mm-hmm.
first. That's usually how you start.
Yeah.
And those pieces, once you see the pattern in pieces like that,
Yeah.
it's easier to kind of start putting the garment together.
Yeah.
So now though, you can just start with the pieces though. You don't need someone else's pattern to take that apart,
That's true.
because you basically, you've kind of already done this.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to start with your own image now instead of
Someone else's image.
yes.
Yes, you have led me down the road. Okay.
What?
Yes, you have. And any of you guys that she's also leading down the road, let us know about it. Because I think she's leading us all down the road.
It's just, I would want to make like a specific thing, and I would start this hunt for a pattern that was similar to what I wanted to make. And that can take some time, and you don't always find what you want. And I started to feel like I was wasting a lot of time that I could be using to actually, make a garment. And once I, a lot of creativity is really just giving yourself permission.
Yes, I agree with that.
Once I gave myself permission to start with what I imagined as opposed to starting with what someone else imagined, it just seemed a lot less intimidating. So, any of you, in the process of starting like your first design, maybe or contemplating designing something for the first time, do share that with us, because we're here to support you. If
Yes.
you can totally do it.
You can
I
totally
can
do
do
it.
it. Because I used to cling to my patterns for dear life.
I know. I would say, oh, but Chris, you said you didn't like that. Why did you just change it? She was like, no, the pattern said. And you do this, the pattern said.
But that was also when I didn't feel like I understood how to put a garment together.
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't talk about the basics of construction. And I think that's one of the things that keeps people from, trying to make things without pattern, because we don't really understand how a shirt or a skirt or a jacket comes together, how it has the shape that it does. And so one of the things that I'm still learning from existing patterns is looking at those shapes. And that's one of the things that I get from the pictures I take of garments that inspire me. I usually am attracted to the shapes that I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, how would what pieces do I need to create something that's that shape? Because that's really where the secret lies. Once you figure out how to make a specific shape, you got it. You're good. Go make something. So we have a burgeoning designer here.
Oh.
Really?
You're using
Are you
the D
going to
word.
stop making that face every time someone says designer?
Oh. Well, we'll see how it comes out. I'm gonna definitely doing a skirt, definitely doing a vest, definitely doing my overpiece, my cardigan. And I think actually the piece that I am the least certain what shape it is the jacket. Because I'm not sure if I want to do a crop jacket. I'm not sure if I want to do a longer jacket. I haven't decided that yet. Mm. The jacket I drew is somewhere between cropped and not cropped. I was just like, I don't know. We'll see.
Get something from your closet.
Yeah. But I'm very excited to try mosaic. I haven't even swatched anything yet. So far, all I have is a sketch. And I haven't done individual sketches of the individual pieces. So I don't think... And do you find that that's the case? The shape exactly is not set in stone until you've drawn it? Because I'm still seeing it in different ways.
No, because I usually don't draw it until I figure out what the shape is.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I try to make that decision first and then sketch it out. And if I am, struggling with a decision over shapes, that's when I'm going to go through my inspo folder and look at the shapes that, have already attracted me in the past.
Maybe I'll do that to decide on the length of the jacket, because I have a Pinterest board that's like all Chanel jackets. that's all that's on. And a few skirts. I don't know whether or not I will line it. I probably won't need to, but we'll see.
What yarn are you using?
Huh?
What yarn are you using?
Oh, I've got this really nice yarn. It's a natural, it's from Universal, and it's Deluxe Naturals.
Oh.
Some of it is in the actual natural color that the wool came in, and I have a deep green and a brown, and I might add a little bit of yellow to it if I decide to plaid it out.
Okay, we have to show people that in the next episode.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And because I have lots of it, I decided to make a suit out of it. and I'll probably be able to get more of it if I need more. It's not something that's gonna change anytime soon.
Cool.
But that's the secret project. That's not a secret anymore.
First step on Lisa's design journey.
Oh God!
Because she's a designer now. Because she designs things like a designer does.
Oh. Okay. See, you've already been on your design journey for a long time, so you're used to thinking of yourself as a designer.
Wait till you start thinking of yourself as an artist. That's going to be a kick in the pants.
Oh yeah, I'm a fiber artist. That's no problem. I've been an artist for many years now. We're all fiber artists.
So, do you have anything else you'd like to share?
Nope, that's it for me.
Okay, then that's it for this week, and we'll see you all next time with one more episode before our little break. And stay stitching.